Hello and welcome back. This evening I'm working in my Moleskine A4 sketchbook yet again, and just like my previous one, I'm going to work over two A4 spreads, creating an A3 piece of artwork in total. I've stuck down a piece of watercolour paper to start on one of the pages, and I'm going to be using some sample pots of wall paint actually, just to create a pattern on that page. I'd picked out like a nice blue for the bathroom and like an off-white for the kitchen. So what I've done is I'm using those two, and then I've mixed them together to create this nice sort of sage colour as well. So those are the three colours I'm going to be using. And all I've done is I've ruled a outline so that I don't go outside of that, just a few centimetres in from the top and bottom and left and right. And then I'm not using a ruler for this like mosaic-y type pattern I'm going to do on this page. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Thankfully, because I have been drawing like this for years, it's going to be relatively straight. You can see it's not absolutely perfect, but I just didn't want to spend the time ruling out a grid, and I did want it to look a little bit more organic looking. This paint actually went down really nice. I mean, I'm no expert in like acrylics, or I don't even think I've used oils before ever. So this to me was very like acrylic paint, except it dries completely matte. Starting on the other spread, I'm going to make a collage out of a whole load of wee scraps of paper that I have. So there's scraps of sheet music, pages from old books. I think there's some watercolour paper as well in there. And then I know I usually say I make this up as I go along, which is true, I do. There is certain levels to that. This one is one where I absolutely had no idea what the next step was going to be. So much so that you can see I'm painting just all over that collage with the very opaque paint. So yeah, what was the point in doing the collage? And then I also like did a bit of green, did a bit of blue, decided I didn't really like that, painted over the top of it again, and then tried to lift away some of the paint with some more scraps of paper I had at the side, just because I did want to see some of the words from the paper coming through as well. So yeah, we're really experimenting with this one. Next then, I'm going to do like my usual like stitch thing where I draw a line that overlaps the artwork onto the page, except this time I'm doing it across the entire spine of the page. This can be a little bit messy because obviously the spine, it's not a completely smooth surface. It does mean there's going to be little irregularities here and there. But I'm just going to keep it quite simple. I'm going to do alternating lines of really fine, close together black strokes. And then I'm also going to do that kind of, I don't know how to explain this one. I draw a line around the inside of the shape, and then I draw like a squiggly line on the inside of that one, and then I colour in the difference. For a little bit of extra detail, I'm going to do really small dots down the outer edges of these two lines on each page, and then go over them with my pen again, just to sort of thicken them up, fill in the little gaps, and add little extra bits here and there. So composition wise, you can see the light changing in this one. I've went back and forth on it through a few evenings and during the day as well. But at this point I've decided I'm going to do like a very big circle with the needle of the compass right in the center of the spine. And then I'm just doing like thin lines and then thicker lines in the middle. Not sure what those are going to be yet, but I know to start off with I'm going to do those little like irregular squares all the way across. So once I've done that on the mosaic-y side of the page, I'm going to draw a line on the inside of those black squares, and then I'm also going to go over where an outline of the wall paint squares are. So I'm outlining those, and then I'm going to go in between those and do little tiny dots just to sort of blend that in with the tiny dots that go down the pattern in the center of the spine. I don't really want to do too much over the top of the wall paint because I do really like the texture that I have. I might do just a little bit of something around the edges later on, but for now I'm going to concentrate on just filling in the gaps between them. So I'm doing that at the moment just inside of the circle shape, but I'm going to do that on the outside as well for the rest of the page. And then I'm also going to do, as well as in between them all, you know, do one along the complete top and bottom as well to sort of seal it in like it's all part of one thing. I've done a wee outline around the edge of the ripped book paper on the top left hand corner of that page, just because I do want that to stand out, because I really love adding these sort of discoloured antique pieces of paper in there and I don't want it to get lost. Next, surprise surprise, I'm going to do a little irregular line just along the outside of the mosaic page. And then using a white gel pen, I'm going to do just a very subtle, like little dotted line around the outside of all of the mosaic shapes. I recently got some inks. I've actually been using them in quite a lot of my artworks lately. This is something I've never really used before, but I'm really loving it because it is essentially just like pre-mixed watercolour. The black one especially, it's interesting. It goes on so densely. You can see here, it's actually got a little bit of a shine off it as well, which is quite interesting. It makes me think of like tar or something like that. So I'm going to dry that with my heat gun. And then I'm going to go over it with my white gel pen again. And here, just out of nowhere, just going to do some leaves. Just thought that would look nice. There's no real theme of this page outside of I want it to look very crafty and I want it to look, well, I suppose it looks the way I made it. No plan, just making it up as I go along. And you can even see I'm ruling more lines and adding in more sort of random shapes here and there, just whatever I think looks right in that moment. And then it should hopefully all come together at the end as one cohesive composition, especially because I suppose the colour palette is very restrained. I have just used like the earthy tones that come through in the paper and then those wall paint colours as well, and then the black and white on top. I'm also adding in little white details here and there. You can't really see these, but they just add a little bit of extra texture. And more broken lines on the mosaic page as well. Just doing those in between the wee gaps here and just where they appear. So now that the mosaic page is mostly done and I've done a little side strip of the leaves on the other page, I'm going to do something different on the inside, like the thicker lines of the circles. Again, using the little tiny dots just to tie that all in, and also to sort of match it in with the mosaic-y effect on the other side, I'm going to create little similar shaped shapes in here. And then as well, to tie in with the other page, I'm just going to do a little white dotted line on the inside of all of these, just for that little bit of extra emphasis on them. So these little dots, they take a long time, but I would say they really are worth it, especially whenever you look down on it from a distance like this, because you can see it does give a nice, just something a bit extra. Instead of doing just thicker lines, it is a thicker line, but it's made up of lots of little lines. And I just think that always looks so much better whenever that's the effect that you want to go for. So I'm just continuing on with that. And then for the middle strip, I'm going to do something different. So I'm doing just little individual dots. These are different from the types of dots I've done in the other shapes so far. Some of those have like little longer bits. These are just like solid uniform dots, all roughly the same size. And then I'm going to do yet another leaf pattern all along the center of this one. And yeah, that's me finishing up now. If you've watched this far in the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.